Hey, this is Notser, and this is the Tier 6 U.S. cruiser Cleveland. It has 12 main guns, 12 secondary guns, 37 AA guns, a top speed of 32.9 knots, total health 35,200, modules used, reduce crit chance on main battery, increase AA range, reduce flood and fire chance, and for my commander, situational awareness, basic survivability, faster turret traverse, reduce fire chance, and a lower cooldown on damage control. We are on the map Two Brothers. I spawned it on the west, and generally my strategy on Two Brothers when we're going up against a aircraft carrier, as you can see on the team list, I like to go directly in the center near the gap and intercept any aircraft that come towards my base. It's very predictable that 9 times out of 10 the enemy aircraft carrier is going to send their aircraft over the gap. I believe this is partly because they're afraid that someone might ambush through the gap, but you can use this to your advantage, especially as a cruiser with defensive fire. You melt aircraft, you destroy, you obliterate them. Most of my games, especially on this map in particular as a cruiser, I get 20 plus aircraft kills because I do that same strategy. I go to the center, I pick up them, I have increased range, and I just devastate them. And I noticed that I'm also detected by a surface vessel, and yep, it's an enemy destroyer. He came around the tip of the shark's tooth. Destroyers love to ambush, and I'm not gonna, I was already turning. I wanted to punish the aircraft carrier for sending his aircraft in this direction. Conveniently, it turned out to be an even better decision because you can see torpedoes, they would have hurt me really bad. So we get 2 pluses there, we get the aircraft dead, and we avoid dying. We know there's a Nicholas there among 2 enemy cruisers. We got a friendly battleship that's out in the open a little bit. Hopefully he can turn around and head back. But we're still trying to take out all the aircraft. I believe it's a tier 6 aircraft carrier, Japanese. So they got a good bit. They can have, I believe, 5 squadrons, and he's all ground, what I've seen. So gotta punish them. And we see this enemy Cleveland. Looks like the Nicholas is on the other side of the island. I would love to fire at this Nicholas, but obviously I don't have line of sight. And we got, I missed the opportunity to fire on that Nicholas because I'm typing to the battleship. He's way out front. There's far too many enemies that have chosen this path. You can also see that there's an enemy battleship and a cruiser that appear to be heading on the west side. So I can interpret this. 80% of the enemy has decided to attack via the west side. Now, when you know the enemy's strategy, you need to sail accordingly. If they're going to attack down your lane, you need to sail defensively because you don't want to die. Angle your ship and minimize the targets that are in range. That's the best way you can treat any defensive situation, and that's how I'm sailing. I'm sailing so I can angle if I ever take damage or the attention of the enemy. It's a hard shot. They're going to be unable to successfully penetrate with AP, and I'll be moving away, so I will have the advantage if I want to return fire. He lands a huge shot on that Cleveland, and of course I'm going to exploit the damage that's already been done, try and take him out of the fight. Clevelands are very dangerous. You need to be very careful around Clevelands. You can see this rate of fire. Fully upgraded Cleveland for me now. In my other video, it was basically stock. And we get a little bit of damage on him. I don't know what I damaged. Maybe a main battery, maybe AA. Nothing important. Nothing that would require him to use damage control. He takes another big shot, and he's down to 51. We don't want him to get away. He wants to drag us into the 4 enemy ships that are right at the shark's tooth point. We don't want to do that. We want to finish him off and move back. And hopefully we'll have enough lead. Yep, we get him. All we needed was 51 points of damage. And now there's one Cleveland with what looks like 2 other cruisers, a enemy destroyer, and a battleship that are pushing the west side. It's me, a friendly Kawachi. Yes, a tier 3 Kawachi. I don't know why this ship is constantly in tier 6 games, but it is. And an AFK St. Louis holding this flank. I was terrified that we could not do anything. And unfortunately the Kawachi, I know he has really crappy range. He shouldn't be in a tier 6. There should not be a Kawachi in tier 6. I don't know why. He's not grouped with anything. But, yeah. He's got to get range, and he's going to die, because everything outranges him. He's got 4 or 5 ships that have range on him. It's a bad situation. You don't want to give your enemy an advantage. They can all fire on him. He can only fire on one of them. So, I noticed, oh crap! There is another enemy very close, Japanese destroyer. And I interpret this because there's no way an American dropped their torpedoes and I did not see them. Their torpedo range is so crappy that they have to be within 5.5 kilometers in order to drop them. Well within the detection range. So this is clearly a Japanese destroyer. Need to be very careful, and I'm sailing towards where I think he is. We're taking a little bit of damage, but we have to take that damage in order to take him down. We would rather take a little bit of small arms, main battery fire, than torpedoes, that's for certain, and we get in range. Cleveland loves destroying, and I aimed where he was going, but he turned sharply. And he turned into us, so he's going to pop back up every once in a while. And we make it count. We land 10 of our 12 potential shots, and he's barely alive, and we compensate, and we kill him.
We've sunk an enemy destroyer.
That minikaze is not going to have any success. There's another destroyer. There's another cruiser that you can't see, and there's at least one battleship on this side, so we gotta sail away, you know, come sail away. Come sail away with me. It's scary. And the St. Louis is gonna die, he's AFK. I think the enemy actually has an AFK ship too. I mean, what's the chance that there's an AFK on both sides? I don't know why you would queue up and then go AFK, but, you know, whatever. So, we've got that Cleveland, he's trying to hit us. We're taking battleship fire. I believe that's in New Mexico. I could be wrong. But I don't think they've got a Japanese battleship on this side. So it's a short-range battleship. Now, they have range on me if I have range on them, because battleships outrange every ship in the game, other than other battleships. So I got this nice island that I can use to protect myself, fire on the enemy. Just gonna watch the St. Louis. You know, he's AFK. There's nothing I can do. You just have to let him die. He is providing spotting information. I would not know this New York instead of a New Mexico. I would not know this New York existed because he wouldn't be firing on anything. But since he's firing on that St. Louis, I know he's moving into position, and I need to be very careful. We know there's at least one more Cleveland that is invisible. We know that there was a Kuma, low health, and a Nicholas. So, it's like 5v1. This is the worst case scenario you could possibly be in. My teammates are pushing east, thankfully. I don't remember if it's this game, but I believe I asked them to push on. Because it just is... I just need to hold. They need to push into the enemy base, and I need to interrupt the cap until they capture. That's the best thing I can do. I've accepted that I'm going to die, but I just want to take as many of them with me And this Cleveland, being a little aggressive, giving me his broadside, I could switch to AP and try and kill him outright. But I'm doing pretty good damage with HE, and I just can't imagine he's going to stay broad for very long. And yep, certainly he goes back. Now we are broad. We are being aggressive. And I do this partly because all I see is this Cleveland. I'm assuming the enemy is trying to maneuver into position. So I'm going to try and kill him. I got a lot of enemies to work through. You got to do as much damage as you can. You got to take advantage of every open opportunity. And this Cleveland is far too forward. He's underestimating my ability to kill him. And we are making him pay. He started out with more health than us, and we've caught up. We are actually ahead. And we're 1 or 2 salvos away from destroying him. And he's sailing very predictably. It's very easy to land these shots. And this Kuma is getting in range, and that's unfortunate, but if they're going to stream in one at a time, I can handle one ship at a time. I can angle, ideally, and a little aggressive there. I wanted to get him dead before the Kuma. And I might miss with this shot too. I'm not leading the target. Nope, we get him. Awesome. Okay, now we get the Kuma. He is basically firing one gun after another. This is a great way to range a shot, but it's a terrible way to burst down the enemy. So you're going to miss some of your shots just because I'll be able to see where the shots land on me and compensate. And that's exactly what I'm going to try and do. I'm going to minimize the target, and we're going to try and maximize the damage we can do on the Kuma. Clearly, we're not ever going to get in range of his torpedoes. He's never going to benefit from those torpedoes. If I let him benefit from those torpedoes, I'm an idiot. And there's an island in the way. I have 2 choices. I can continue to turn left or turn right. I turn right because I want to extend the distance. I am a higher tier ship, and I can do more damage. So I just double check to make sure that I'm not going to run into any island. He's got 1 fire on the back half. We've got 2 of our 4 turrets. The front 2 are turning, obviously. Every cooldown, we're going to try and land. We need to lead him just a little bit better to do some damage. But we are still trying to compensate, trying to land our shots. That looks pretty good. Oh, just a little bit too far. Come on, kill him. We've got to watch the cap. It's very close. And there we go. We kill the enemy Kuma. And we're taking fire from the New York and the other Cleveland. And barely alive. 2,700 hit points. And I see that there's a enemy Cleveland. And I notice that someone in the cap took damage, or someone moved out. So I need to reset the cap or we lose. So, target. First I try the Cleveland. I'm successful, and then I shoot at the New York. And I just want to survive now. This is, there's no way I could kill him before one of us cap, right? And, it looks like we're gonna win. We're gonna win. We held the western flank. Our eastern guys, they pushed, they took the enemy base. We killed 4 enemy ships. And most of the time, we were way outnumbered. But that's the power of the Cleveland. Great guns, great rate of fire, great AA guns. 1,949 base XP, 4 kills, 11 aircraft shot down. We got something like 70,000 points of damage, which it's alright. But the more important thing is we protected the flank, allowed our team to get to the enemy base and win. I hope you guys have a great day, and I'll catch you guys next time.